Hello, Rose and Ryan over at Wholesome Roots have invited us to join in with their collaboration, which is called The Good, the Bad and the Ugly of Homesteading.
You've got that theme tune in your head now, haven't you?
So we thought we would talk today about a few of the things that for us are good and
Not
bad,
so good.
yeah, and downright ugly.
Don't look at me like that.
I think we've said before, when we moved here, we didn't actually plan to be homesteading. We kind of fell into it. And
I think collapsed into it, actually.
Yes, collapsed into it is perfect. But we have embraced a homesteading lifestyle completely, really.
Yeah, we have. And generally, overall, it's good.
It is good.
Apart from the fact I love this place, I love where we are, and I feel more at home here than I think I have anywhere since I was growing up, which is, you know, it's always nice to come home, which hasn't always been the case in life.
No, that's nice.
But there are kind of two main things that I think are particularly good about this. One is the obvious, it's the food. We're eating a better variety and a richer variety of much healthier foods than we have done, and the benefit to both of our health has been tremendous.
Yeah.
And I know Liz will be touching on other health benefits as well. And also we're physically stronger. That's partly to do with physical labour, and you know, when we first moved in here, shifting a 20 kilo sack of chicken feed was not as easy as it is now. Although I'm sure the day job helps me with that a little bit. So yeah, the benefits are definitely very, very high.
Good, isn't it?
Mm.
And for me, working on the homestead full time it's been an eye opener. It's pushed me to physical limits I didn't know I could achieve, which have been really positive. But most of all, it has been absolutely great for my mental health. And generally, I'm so much more lifted in my spirits, in my mood, and much more on an even keel. So rather than life being up and down like this, it's much gentler with the odd high and low, but it's much kinder, which, you know, and that's better for me emotionally and for me physically as well.
Which is good for me too, because, you know, it's a bit, I was thinking it's a bit like we've gone from one of those death ride roller coasters to the kiddie roller coaster for little people. I think I prefer that.
Teacups.
Teacups. You speak for some. Coffee mugs, thank you. Yeah, so the health benefits for Liz actually has a big benefit for me as well, because it does me good to see her better. As you will know from some of the previous videos that we've put out, when we first moved here, Liz's health was not great physically and mentally, and Liz has talked very openly about suffering from depression and so forth in previous videos, and definitely the lifestyle here has smoothed things a lot, not cured, not taken them completely away, but made them a lot more copable with.
And the impact of feeling down is not so severe when everything else is just much more on an even keel and not so up in the air. So I think from that point of view, that gentle rhythm, that necessity to do some things every day, and to have animals to care for that no matter how I'm feeling, still need to be looked after, and that obligation actually is a very good thing for me. On the flip side of that obligation can also be quite a tough thing, can't it? When it's cold and wet and very blowy, which it is here a bit, isn't it?
Not recently, maybe, but yes, sometimes it goes from being a joy to being a bit of a millstone around the neck, doesn't it?
Yeah, you know, and so far we've been here for nearly 3 years. We haven't had a holiday off-site. We've had two or 3 days out, and that's been it. And as time goes on and we're more organised here, I'm sure we will we will find ways to be able to take a vacation of some sort. But that obligation that I just talked about being a good thing is a bit of a double-edged sword, because it can be a bad thing too.
Yeah, it can be a limitation to other activities. Probably the worst thing here, I think, is the fact that for all our planning and for all our expecting to be proactive about things and plotting and working things out and going, right, today we're going to do this, we have to be reactive.
Yeah.
Because we'll go out armed to the teeth to, I don't know, rebuild a chicken house or something, and something's fallen over, or something's not well, or something's blown, or something needs propping up. And you spend more time chasing after the things that you need to patch up and catch up with than you do going ahead of the game. And that can be a bit disheartening.
Well, it can be frustrating, can't it?
I think the worst of those was actually when we had the lockdown situation in our first winter. And
well, this is when the government said that all poultry had to be kept inside and under cover to try and prevent the spread of avian flu. And yeah, we'd had no notice of it. We weren't savvy to the places that you could go and find out this information, and it kind of had been rumbling for a while, but we weren't aware of it.
Because we were still newbies, so
yeah, and it was
big learning curve for us.
Yeah, it was a bolt out of the blue on 4 o'clock on a Tuesday afternoon.
The worst time of the year for me as a postman, because I was working, and still am, mainly 4 days on the post job. But at Christmas, it's busier, so there was no way on earth I was going to be able to phone up and say, I can't come in for a couple of days. I've got to go and build things to hide chickens from flying birds. So Liz got lumbered with it, which was not great for you.
In the pouring rain, beginning of December, and with no proper tools and no equipment to use, and I cobbled a front together on one of the outbuildings, which was an open-fronted outbuilding, and that became our chicken palace, which has been brilliant. And we've built on that since, and we've developed it, and we've given it a proper door, and we've given it a pop hole, and we've actually incorporated it into our smallholding. But it was so difficult to just react just like that.
The one positive, however, to come out of all these reactions to things, and that's actually the best example, is that it's developed our knowledge base, so that we are now much better able to cope with things when they get chucked at us. So it's a much quicker process from you need to do this to actually doing it, rather than you need to this and running around like the proverbial headless chicken, not knowing what to do and thinking the sky's falling down.
Yeah. So yeah, that whole having to be reactive so often is probably, I think you're right, that's probably the biggest negative.
Yeah,
it is for me, certainly.
I think so.
Yeah.
On the ugly side of life, which is not something I tend to dwell on too often, but my ugly is when Liz can't cope, or when Liz is finding it tougher to cope. Now, I've said earlier that the good is that things are a lot more even for Liz now than they used to be, which is great. But when she's having a bad time and I can't fix it, that's just something I find very difficult. I want to just go like that and sort it out, and
thank you.
I can't do that. Because I'm not super being. And I know that's not a specific homesteading ugly, but it's a life ugly. And as our life is on our homestead, it kind of is.
Yeah. I think probably the thing that I find ugliest is how I feel when one of the animals is either ill or dies. She had damaged her hip badly, really badly. There was no muscle control, and her leg was just dangling. So, 7 o'clock this morning, I had to dispatch Mrs. Warren. What a horrible 24 hours. It's just 2 friends gone. because it makes me feel like I've failed. It makes me feel like I've failed them. Not that I'm a failure, but that I've failed in my duty of care for them. And I'm not sure that that will ever lessen, I think.
I don't think it will. And actually, I think in many ways it's good that it doesn't.
Yeah, I mean, it's because I care. It's because I care about their welfare. But it is really not a nice feeling. We're down to 11 ducks, and that's okay. It was just...
it would be nicer if it was 11 ducks because we'd planned it rather than it was planned for us.
Yes. And it wasn't one I was expecting to be feeling here.
No.
Maybe naively, I had just thought about, ooh, chickens and ooh, ducks. And now, ooh, turkeys. And there was quite a lot of naivety at the beginning in terms of just of how hard it would be to deal with them not being well.
Yeah, because obviously our background with animals has been domestic pets, and when a domestic pet isn't well, you get the vet in, but it's not really practical to do that with every issue with a chicken or a turkey or a duck, is it? No.
So we've had to learn fast. And I've learnt more in a very short space of time than I ever imagined I would. But yeah, that's my ugly.
But then again, positives. The thing is that and this is one of the best things about this, I think. I mentioned earlier that from when we were looking at the bad side of life, that there are positives to come out of it, that we found new skills that we didn't know we had because we've had to react to things. And even with the ugly side of homesteading, there's positives to come out of it, because you learn that you can do things, and that you learn you can make a difference, and a positive difference, and do things better.
Yeah.
So it's an ongoing growth learning curve.
So would you stop homesteading now and go back to the life we had before?
No.
Nor would I.
That's pretty good, isn't it?
Well, I think that's all from us today. Thank you to Rose and Ryan from Wholesome Roots for inviting us to join in this collaboration. And so,
wherever you are in the world, whatever your plans are for today, hope it's a good one. Don't forget to check out some of our other videos, quick plug. And I hope you can join us again tomorrow.
Bye.